come on into the ditch. I'm your resident ditch witch, Tara Tyne, and today is Pancake Tuesday. So I know it's been a pretty heavy couple of weeks, the last couple of weeks, with all that hard-hitting documentary stuff, which is really important. It's a big part of what I do, but do you know what? Just like you, I need to blow off some steam too. So today we're digging into ye old recipe book. Ye old yummy recipes book, which I put together when I had absolutely no money. I was a poor college student and I just basically needed somewhere safe to stick in all these recipes that I was coming across, and drew nice patterns and stuff. Yeah, so I'm gonna dig into this for a traditional family recipe. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a traditional Irish recipe. I don't know if anybody else makes their pancakes like I do. All I know is that I am making them the way my mother's mother would have made them, and the way my mother made them too. I think maybe with slight deviations. And for those of you who don't know what Pancake Tuesday is, I think it seems to be mainly an Ireland UK thing. Dave's just flipping the record here, don't mind him. And it originally derives from Shrove Tuesday, which was a whole big Catholic, you know, denying yourself indulgences and then getting the validation of that afterwards. And originally it would have been like a last treat before Lent kicked in, when you're fasting from all kinds of stuff, including like the eggs and maybe the sugar and, I don't know, indulgences. So then you'd have a big tasty feast of pancakes just before it, and you'd be getting rid of those ingredients as well, so they're not going to waste. So this is a thing that certainly would have gone back through generations. I don't actually know how old this practice is here, but like I say, I used to love my mommy's pancakes, my nanny's pancakes, and we're gonna have some of my pancakes today. Okay, so it's into the recipe book. I really need to remake this, you know, maybe a cozy stormy day when I haven't much else to do. We might make a wee video transplanting all the recipes that I do actually use, leaving out the ones that I don't, and putting them into something a wee bit less flimsy. Yeah, it turns out there's only so far you can get with cardboard on string and sheets from a sketch pad. So anyway, my recipe here, I love this recipe. So it's, you know, normal kind of grammage measurements we have going on. We've got 200 grams of flour here. I'm going to put 3 eggs into the bowl. Then we've got 1/2 inch of butter. Okay, just let that sit with you for a minute. 1/2 inch of butter. So we take it from, this is the standard size stick here in Ireland. How many's in that? 454. Dave knows off the top of his head. He's the butter king.
Love butter.
Love butter. Yeah, we're quite fond of it here. Obviously, vegans accepted. But we've got that there. When you take 1/2 inch off it, it's like, you know, this. So I'm going to ask my lovely assistant Dave to just sit that into the oven for me, because we use the butter pre-melted, and that is a stoneware mug. Don't just try putting your regular old favourite drinking mug into the oven, unless it's stoneware. So then, yeah, we've got milk and water here as well. So this is equal measures, 200 ml of milk and 200 ml of water. They go in together, and we're gonna get started. Or maybe we're not. Slide it in, we slide it in. There we go, perfect. Like it was made for it. Right, so 3 eggs first of all. Don't judge me for the way I break my eggs, because you know, the bowl isn't always sharp enough to be reliably cracking your eggs on. So I like to use the back of a knife, huh?
There's a myth that if you do it on the table, that you end up with less. That's...
Do you end up with egg in your hair if you do it on the table? Oh, I just destroyed that one. Are the eggs really weak, or am I just being like hyper strong? If you keep a compost pile, eggs are great for it, so you can just rinse them out, crush them up and hoof them in. Okay, so whip the eggs. So obviously I didn't do any separation here. You just whip them all in like that, no messing. Okay, the butter's melted. I've just put that in at about 100, 125 degrees Celsius. I had it at 125 to melt it a little bit faster. If you don't have a microwave, handy tip. You want it to be melted, but not too hot, because you don't actually want scrambled eggs. So just give that a wee mix in as I go. Then I'm going to add my milk and water mix. Okay, and then you've got the liquid of the pancake batter. And just before I put the flour in, I'm going to just put a little pinch of salt into that. It's just sieving it in bit by bit. And probably ideally you'd be using a wooden spoon, but I forgot mine today. And the point is to get all the lumps out as you go, because the first thing this wants to do is get super lumpy. Dave, do you think you could take a little tap dancing break and come and sip some more flour in for me?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so about 10 minutes of lump removal later, and it's pretty much more or less all blended. So what I'm going to do now is this, according to this recipe, needs to be left sat for an hour. I usually cover it over with a tea towel just to keep, you know, anything from getting into it or whatever. And at the end of that hour, then I'm going to come back and remove any remaining lumps which have risen to the surface. And then I'm going to cook some pancakes, so see you on the other side. Okay, so what is that, an hour, maybe an hour and a half later, and we've come back, lift the tea towel off, and you can see some of the lumps have risen to the surface, still a wee bit lumpy. So I'm just going to give this another mash around the side of the bowl now, get rid of some of them, and we've got the pan heating. Quite important to start from a hot pan, but I'm not going to lie, it is a general rule of thumb that the first one's always going to be shite anyway. So if you like, what you can do is offer the first one to the fairies, because a lot of us do that. It's quite traditional, and to just kind of say the first of my crop of pancakes shall be deeded to the Sheha will probably yield you luck for the rest of the batch then, and maybe even the rest of the week. Who knows? Right, I think we're about ready to go here now. Dave, do you want to just lift the camera and follow me to my my workstation here? Okay. Trusty ladle, because it's a pretty good measuring device. I'm using about half of a ladle full, maybe half to 3/4. If you've got like one of the little miniature Pyrex jugs, they're also really good. It's just this part of the process can get really, really messy. And do you know what? It'll get even messier again if you forget to put the butter on, like I nearly did. We use butter for this instead of oil, obviously because we love butter, because it improves the flavour, because that's what the recipe says, and that's how I like my pancakes. You get a decent knob of butter on there, and actually I have a little silicone brush at home for spreading the butter around, but failing that you can also use a couple of sheets of kitchen roll. Just give it a quick smush around the pan to make sure that it's covering the whole surface. Just obviously keep your buttery kitchen roll well away from the hot pan then. Alright Dave, up close for the sexy B-roll. Oh, and it's actually, this is a bigger pan than mine, so I am going to put that extra little bit in. Smush it around the pan. Yeah, you can see that big mix of butter and stuff. It's not sizzling the way I would have liked because this hob is taking forever, but we'll get there. We've also got another guest joining us for pancakes today. Say hi, Sean. And the most important part of this recipe, the tea. And when it goes that darker kind of yellowy colour and is easily moved on the pan, give it a flip. Give it an old flip, Dave. Okay, so when you've got your nice tasty brown pancakeness going on there, it's time for the toppings. And it's quite traditional here in Ireland, I think, going back to the time of our mothers and grandmothers when citrus was a big deal, and a lot of us would still eat it like this, and personally it's one of my favourite ways to have it. So a little bit of lemon juice minus the pips and a little bit of sugar. Now I like to use caster sugar just because it's a little bit finer, and personally I find it a little bit less sweet than regular sugar. And that's it. It's a little bit more like what you might know as like a crepe, French crepe, but that's how we take our pancakes. That's it there. That's the taste of Pancake Tuesday. And also, if you've made up a load of pancake batter, especially if you're just making them for you and you've got some left over, you can actually eat pancakes all day with the simple change around of toppings by adding rashers, and instead of the lemon juice and the caster sugar, you can whop a bit of maple syrup over that. Now, getting some in the shops on Pancake Tuesday is going to be the hard part, but I tell you, totally worth it. These are bringing back memories every time I eat them. So if you enjoyed that, let me know. Give me a wee like on my video there, and also tell me how you like to eat your pancakes. And don't forget, if you're not already, hit subscribe for more fun and witchy adventures. I upload 2 to 3 times a week, and you're not going to want to miss it. Slán agus beannacht, goodbye and good luck to you. That is such a good pancake. Yep, that'll do rightly. There's still a tiny pancake work in there if you want it. Are you firm in there?
I am, yeah.
Very nice.
Very nice.